welcome back. Today I just wanted to sit down with you here for a little tea and heartfelt chat about the challenging nature of this time of year. I didn't plan out really much of what I would say in this video, like I often do with these little heartfelt chats. But I just really felt called to make some space for the feeling that I seem to be sensing from everybody that I encounter these days, and that is just that January is hard. January is hard for a lot of reasons. And so I have made this cup of tea. I would encourage you to make a cup of tea if you would like to, or cozy up in your bed if you're getting ready to go to sleep. And I just want this to be a little bit of time for self-compassion for all of us, just a little bit of time for us to really take a breath and give ourselves a hug and congratulate ourselves for getting through things day by day during a really tough time of the year. So I am drinking a cup of nutty nostalgia tea, which was one of the teas that was given to me by one of this channel's subscribers, Sarah, which I unboxed in a video a few weeks ago, and it is really, 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 really tasty, and I really like it. So it's a little comfort to me right now, and I'm just going to dive into this. I think that is one of the things that this time of year really brings home to me, is the value of really simple comforts, the value of having a warm beverage and taking a minute to sit with it and feel the warmth of it and enjoy the flavor of it, and to really try as much as we can to slow down during this winter time, because that's what nature is doing, and I think that is what the earth is calling us to do, is to slow down, because this is the time, this is the time when the earth is resting, all of the plants are in their dormant phases. Things are underground, waiting for the spring. I keep thinking about the flower bulbs and the garlic bulbs that Justin and I planted in the fall. And, at the time that we planted those, we had a lot going on. Things were busy. We were going through some challenges, and someone had given us the flower bulbs, and then I really wanted to plant the garlic bulbs, and so one day we just said, okay, we're going to do this, and we got up the energy, and we did it, and I'm so glad that we did, because now I keep thinking of those bulbs being out in our yard, out in the flower beds, and in my herb bed. The garlic is in my herb bed, thinking about those bulbs under the ground, storing up their energy, getting ready for the spring. But this is what the winter is about, right? It's a time of sort of retraction. It's a time of going inward. It's a time of rebuilding and storing up, using the energy stores from the rest of the year. It's not a time when a lot of things are being produced. It's a time when things are still and things are kind of in a state of waiting. And I think that's one of the reasons that this is a really hard time of the year in our society, is because we do not have a society that appreciates the value of stillness and of waiting. I'm going to have some of my tea. This tea has a really pretty pink color. I wish I could show you. I don't think you'll be able to see even if I tip it. I'll tip it as far as I can. But it has beets in it. And so when I put my milk in the tea, it kind of gives it, you can really see the pretty pink color. And so that's very, very uplifting to me. But I'm going to have some tea. Maybe you'll have some too. I also seem to have a perpetual scratchy throat at this time of year. Very thankfully, I have not been sick, and I hope I will not get sick. I've been doing a lot to try to take care of myself and keep my immunity boosted up and try to, stay away from situations where there are a lot of people that might, be passing around germs and that sort of thing. But having warm beverages all the time and having cough drops that I really like. Like, I have this particular brand of cough drops, and they're eucalyptus mint that I really like. And, just having those is a nice, special comfort. Just think about, those little, small, they're not extravagances, but they're just, small little upgrades that we can make to things in our life in the winter to kind of up our coziness factor and up our comfort factor. That's just something I would encourage you to do in areas where you can. But I think there's just this weird juxtaposition, and I've talked about this before in videos, I think around this time of year, that January is this time that our culture actually pushes us to be really productive and make a lot of change. Culturally, we're pushed to make resolutions, and start working out and break bad habits and, create new routines and do all of these things, which, in and of themselves are fine to do. But it's just can be this really kind of harsh, severe, pushing energy that we have to do all these things and that we're somehow failing if we're not doing those things this time of year. And for me, I just really have to take it a little more slow and a little more easy on myself, or else I will just end up in a really, really bad place with my mental health. And I will say that this is true for me, and if it's true for you, I just want to acknowledge this and put it out there, that I feel like in January, on a day-to-day basis, my moods and my energy levels are like this. They are constantly fluctuating. In the course of one day, I can be feeling really great and optimistic and inspired and happy and excited about things, and then an hour later I'll be feeling despairing and sad and have no energy and just want to stay in bed, and then by a couple hours later I'll feel differently. There's just a lot of up and down this time of year. And so if you are feeling that, just know that you are not alone. And I think that's why it's hard this time of year to try to put things in place that are very strict and stringent, I'm going to do this particular workout every day at 7 a.m. starting right now, starting January 1st, because there may be days when your body is really up for that and you're really in a good place to do that, and then there might be days when you're not. And of course there is something to be said for having a certain amount of discipline in a non-punishing, non-judging ourselves way. It is good to have some discipline and stick to routines when it comes to things that are important to us, and there's nothing wrong with that. But there just also, I feel like there needs to be this kindness. There needs to be more kindness and more flexibility in these things. So if I am trying to set intentions this time of year, I try to have them be a little more adaptable, I will move my body a certain number of days of the week and not say that it has to be at any particular time or have some flexibilities about the days. I mean, one thing that I love to do is just say that I will get outside every day. And so that might mean taking a long, long walk with Foxy where I get my heart rate up and I get, a pretty good workout. Or that just might mean, especially if it's a really crummy day outside, that just might mean going outside, for 5 minutes and breathing some fresh air. And that's still a good thing. So, I don't know. I don't know what I'm talking about, friends. I just want you to feel cared for right now, okay? And to feel like wherever you are is fine. If you are on top of your game and you are just nailing your resolutions and everything is just popping and you are being super productive, then fantastic. I am right here for you. And if you're more in the wrapping up in a fuzzy blanket, considering it an accomplishment to, do one thing on your to-do list each day mode, then I think that's okay too. And I see you, and I care about you, and I believe in you, and this season will not last forever. This season of the year, as far as the actual physical season, will not last forever. And whatever season you are in, as far as your mood and where you are in your life, it will change and it will evolve. People like to say, this too shall pass, a lot, as a comfort during hard times. And I think there's a truth to that. But I have kind of adapted that in my own mind, and I often think this too will change, because things do pass, but the things that happen to us don't completely go away. They don't just disappear, The things that happen to us and the experiences we have and the emotions that we have, they evolve into the next thing. They change into the next thing. So what's happening to us right now will continue changing in subtle ways all the time, and then will eventually transform into something else. So if you're going through something difficult right now, it's okay to feel the frustration. It's okay to feel the hurt or the pain or whatever it is that you're going through. And also having that knowing that this situation will change in some way. It will keep flowing. Life will keep moving. And even when things feel really, really stagnant and stuck, there is movement there in some way. And I think nature reminds us of that right now things seem pretty darn bleak and stagnant outside, but there are still little things changing. Justin and I noticed that there are buds on our forsythia bush, which will not bloom for quite a long time, but there are buds there that are beginning to bring that energy from within the plant to the surface in preparation for the next phase. And so often I feel it in the breeze, in the wind. Some days the wind is cold and harsh, and then some days there'll be a little touch of a warmth to the breeze. Some days the wind is totally still and there's no movement at all. And just those little changes day to day in nature and in the weather, and noticing those fluctuations in myself, that can be a comfort. And that's been a journey for me to come to a place where I find comfort in change instead of finding fear in change. That's, if I have a resolution or an intention for myself in this phase of my life, whatever phase I may be entering right now, it's to embrace change and embrace uncertainty, and to be okay with not knowing what's going to happen, and to allow that to help me be more open to possibilities instead of being very narrow in what I think is an okay way for things to turn out or an acceptable way for things to go. If I have a broader lens of what I'm willing to accept and what I'm willing to be open to, then my hope is that that will make life richer for me and will actually help with my anxiety and help with that kind of fear about things not being the way I think they should be. If there are more ways that I'm okay with things being, then that gives me more options. So I don't know. I don't know if that makes sense, but it's a thought for us to consider. And some of you might remember that last year I decided to have a word of the year for myself. I had never done that before. Sometimes I know people who do that every year. But last year, my word of the year for 2025 was receive. And I really wanted to work on being open to receiving whatever it is that the world might want to give me. I'm a very giving person, and I did end up doing a lot of giving in 2025, no doubt about that. But I also do think that I succeeded in being more open to receiving, in receiving the love of my family and friends, receiving the connection of this community and other communities in my life, of being open, like I said, to opportunities. I had some really cool opportunities come into my life this year, opportunities to collaborate with different people professionally and creatively, which were really satisfying for me. I had some really beautiful relationships and friendships blossom in ways that I wasn't expecting. I was able to receive a lot of love and care and understanding from friends, and I was able to open my heart up a little bit to receive that more. So I think that was all very positive. And the word I chose for 2026 is kind of in line with this theme that this little tea and chat is kind of centering around. My word for 2026 is practice. And originally I thought about it being create, because I really want to focus on writing this year and allowing myself to get back to my writing practice and to just allow my creativity to really flow this year, to do more art-related things and just be more creative in my life in as many ways as I can. And then I thought about it more and I realized that that other word that kind of came from it, practice, was what I was really, really feeling drawn to. That idea of the practices in my life that bring me fulfillment, and not practicing in the sense that like, oh, I'm going to practice this until I get it perfect, or I'm going to practice this until I master it. But the idea of just having a regular practice of something, of making things a regular part of my life, writing and movement. I want to get back to my yoga practice, maybe in a new way. Just different things in my life that I enjoy doing, and really making them more into regular practices and rituals. Even enjoying my tea, thinking about like my morning and evening routines. What practices can I bring into those that will help me feel more grounded and more creative? And it's just something I'm thinking about. So I actually wrote about that. I wrote a post about that on my Substack, and that is one of my soft goals for this year, is to publish more frequently on my Substack. So if you are interested in reading more thoughts of mine about this, or if you would like to connect with me there and read more of my writing, I always have a link to my Substack in my video descriptions, and I would love it if you were part of that community as well. So what else do I want to say about January? I think it's also a time, because December in one way or another always ends up being really intense. Whether you're a person that has a busy holiday season, or whether you're a person that, retreats more during that time, there's just collectively a lot of charge and a lot of energy and a lot of emotion during the holidays. And so then January is just sort of like the flip side of that, like the backswing of that, I feel like. And Justin was reading something about how, January, the word January, comes from the name of the god Janus, which Janus, I think I'm getting this right, Janus has two faces, one facing forward and one facing back. And so that's kind of what happens to us in January, that we're looking towards the future, but we're also reflecting on the past. And so that can be really intense. It can be, there are a lot can come up for us as we're thinking about, well, what did I accomplish in the past year? What did what things am I proud of? What things do I maybe wish I could have done differently? And so I just really encourage you to have a lot of gentleness with yourself, a lot of gentleness and a lot of compassion with yourself as you reflect on the past and as you think about where you might want to go in the future. I hope that you will do that with love in your heart and a lot of admiration and respect for yourself as a person and all the things that you have come through, all the difficulties that you have managed, and all the potential that you have for the future. And there's so much going on in the world right now that is very difficult to try to process. That's another thing about this time of year that is hard, and another thing about this moment in time that is hard. I'm not going to, pretend that those things aren't there and that we can just all, act like everything's fine when it isn't. And I feel like so much of that divisiveness and that anger and that hostility that there is in the world, I can't fix that. I can't single-handedly make that better. But what I can do is that I can reach out a hand of care and of love to you. And that I can get better at loving myself so that I can get better at loving other people. And, maybe I'm an idealist, but I do think that love is the antidote to a lot of the things that are ailing our world. That a lot of the terrible things happening in our world come out of a lack of love and come out of fear, which is the opposite of love. And so I try to do everything that I can in my life to cultivate love and to cultivate courage and to help myself and help others to not have to feel afraid. And I don't always know how to do that. I don't know how to do that. I don't have a lot of big answers here, friends. I never come into these chats thinking like I'm going to tell you something that's going to change your life and make you feel differently about everything and set you on some different path. Like that's not even my intention, even if I could do that. I just want you to know that I'm here with you in this time that is challenging, that can be overwhelming, where there can be a lot of different things swirling around happening at once. But we're going to be okay. The spring will come. Things will shift. Tides will turn. Things are always changing. And that there is something that is there that we can hold on to. There is a stability in nature and in our own humanity that we can hold on to. And if you're a person who believes in divinity, in spirituality, if that thread is a thread you have in your life, and I hope that you do, in whatever way that is meaningful to you, because I think that's important to find that thread of sacredness in your life that you can hold on to, whatever that might be. And I think I don't even know what I think, friends. I don't have some big, beautiful way to tie this up in a package. I just wanted to sit here with you and tell you that you are valuable and you are worthy and you're doing a great job. And if you're struggling right now, I feel you. If you are having a hard time getting through January, you are not alone. And I just want to send you love and care. And I'd love to hear what your strategies are for moving through this difficult time of the year. I'm drinking a lot of cozy tea. I'm trying to connect with friends and people who make me feel uplifted. I'm having a lot of dance parties in my house. I'm listening to a lot of John Batista. His song Freedom has kind of been my anthem of this winter, that I put that on and I dance and I try to feel better. I've been trying to cook nourishing foods and, read and be cozy and, and also the things that I am working on, the work that I'm doing, the consulting work that I'm doing and the creative work that I'm doing, to really allow myself to fully be in that, to feel good about that, and then to rest when I need to rest, and to try to find that balance, and to know that some days are just going to be really crummy, and some days I'm just going to feel yucky and tired and weird no matter what I do, and to just have balance with that too. I have felt a little bit of, I don't know if I'd call it a creative slump here with my channel, but I have felt like I am a little bit out of my groove with my channel. And so that was, again, today I thought, well, I don't have a perfect idea for a video, but I'm just going to sit down here with you and be myself and believe in my heart that that is enough, and that there is something that comes out of this connection, this moment in time together, that can benefit us both, because that's why I do what I do here, and it's why I'm really glad that you're here with me. So I am raising my warm, cozy mug of tea to you. I am wishing you all the best, and I am hoping that you can feel within yourself those seedlings of hope that are there and are waiting to be able to spring forth and bloom in your life, because they are there, and I truly believe that. So take good care of yourself. Let me know if there are other things you would like me to chat about. I do have a list of topics for 2026 for tea and chat videos that you've given me in the past, but this one just felt like it needed to get inserted in there today. So I will be back with videos, more videos like this, and who knows what else. Thanks for giving me this place and this space that we can be together and explore and just be human together. So, did I already do the outro? I don't even remember. Take good care of yourself. Rest well. Stay cozy. And I will see you again soon. Bye for now, friends.